Principal of Shankarlal Khandelwal College, Arts, Science and Commerce College, Akola. I would like to welcome the chief guest for today's webinar, Honorable Dr. R.S. Chandanpat, sir, who is the Principal of Arts, Commerce and Science College, Kiran Nagar, Amravati. Also, I would like to welcome all the faculty members and the research students from all three MOU partner institutes. Now, with the permission of chair, I would like to start the proceeding of this webinar. Now, first of all, I would like to invite Honorable Dr. R.S. Chandanpat, sir, for his address as the chief guest for this webinar. Please, sir.
आज दिनांक 28/6/2022 ला फिजिक्स डिपार्टमेंटच्या वतीने रिसर्च मेथोडॉलॉजी वर आयोजित वेबिनारला उपस्थित सन्माननीय राजेश जयपूरकर सर, अकोल्याच्या महाविद्यालयाचे प्राचार्य सर आणि उपस्थित सगळे प्राध्यापक वृंद, विद्यार्थी आणि विद्यार्थी मित्र आणि मैत्रिणी, आजचा हा वेबिनार विद्यार्थ्यांच्या प्रगतीसाठी जे काही रिसर्च मेथोडॉलॉजीच्या दृष्टिकोनातून त्यांना कार्य करायचं आहे त्यांच्या प्रगतीसाठी आयोजित केलेला आहे. आर्ट्स कॉमर्स सायन्स कॉलेज चिखलदरा आणि श्रीमती नरसम्मा कला वाणिज्य विज्ञान महाविद्यालय अमरावतीच्या MOU अंतर्गत हा वेबिनार होतोय, याचा मला आनंद आहे. आणि या वेबिनारच्या माध्यमातून विद्यार्थ्यांनी आपल्या संशोधन वृत्तीमध्ये येणाऱ्या अडचणी, त्यांना पुढे काय करायचं, कशा पद्धतीने रिसर्च करायचा याबद्दलची संपूर्ण माहिती या वेबिनारच्या माध्यमातून आपल्याला द्यायचा. आमच्या महाविद्यालयाचे प्राध्यापक वाजपेयी सर हे सुद्धा या वेबिनार मध्ये मार्गदर्शन करणार आहेत. आणि विद्यार्थ्यांच्या दृष्टिकोनातून जी उपयुक्त माहिती आहे ती विद्यार्थ्यांना या वेबिनारच्या माध्यमातून मिळेल. आपल्याला आम्ही MOUच्या माध्यमातून अशा प्रकारचे कार्यक्रम आयोजित करत असतो आणि करत आहोत. चिखलदरा महाविद्यालयासोबत आम्ही MOU करून मागील 2 वर्ष झाले या संदर्भात विविध प्रकारचे कार्यक्रम आयोजित केलेले आहेत. आणि रिसर्च फेलोशिप साठी विद्यार्थ्यांना मोटिवेट करणे आणि त्यांना योग्य त्या प्रकारच्या दृष्टिकोनातून आम्ही आमचे उद्दिष्ट समोर ठेवलेले आहे. सगळ्यांना मी या निमित्त शुभेच्छा देतो. मी सध्या नागपूरला बोर्ड ऑफ स्टडीजच्या मीटिंगला आहे. एक वेळातला वेळ काढून मी आपल्या या वेबिनार मध्ये सहभागी झालो. सगळ्यांना मी शुभेच्छा देतो आणि आपण सगळ्यांनी या वेबिनारचा आस्वाद घ्यावा, लाभ घ्यावा अशा प्रकारच्या शुभेच्छा देत माझ्या शब्दाला विराम देतो. जय हिंद, जय महाराष्ट्र.
धन्यवाद सर, धन्यवाद.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you, Honorable Principal Dr. R.S. Chandanpat, sir, for your very valuable remarks regarding this workshop. Now, I would like to invite Honorable Principal Dr. Jagdish Sabu, sir, for his inaugural address. Please, sir. Hello.
सर अनम्यूट करा. साबू सर अनम्यूट.
Thank you. At the very outset, I thank the organizers of this webinar for giving me the opportunity as the inaugural guest of this function. The chairperson of this function, Dr. Rajesh Jayapurkar sir, the principal of Arts, Science and Commerce College, Chikhaldara, and former Pro-Vice Chancellor of Sant Gadge Baba Amravati University, Amravati. Honorable Principal, Dr. R.S. Chandanpat sir, Principal, Arts, Science and Commerce College, Kiran Nagar, Amravati. The head of the department, Dr. Kapse sir, Dr. Devde sir, all the organizers. The subject of the webinar is research methodologies in physical sciences. I, on the behalf of the organizers, first of all, declare that this webinar is inaugurated. All of us know that nowadays the responsibility of research work has been assigned to the colleges as the researchers, and all people are increasing, as well as for facilitating them and to make them easy access for the research and research activities. So far as I myself is concerned, all of you know, I am the man of humanities or languages, and I'm going to inaugurate the webinar on research methodologies in physical sciences. But one thing is very important, that man or the human being or the entire cosmos, when we live in it, we are part and parcel of it. What I feel, that we all are part and parcel of physics, and everything goes and moves around this physics. And for this, one needs to understand each and everything in the physical sciences. So far as I know, being the student, all of us know that when we start our education, after completing our primary education up to the 4th class, from 5th to 10th, we are already one subject, general science, that is Samanya Vidya. Why it is made? It is meant to make the people understand that importance of science in the life, to know the cosmic activities, to know the physical activities, chemical activities, all that is very needed in day-to-day life, even to understand the boiling point of the water, even what is electricity, what is speed, what is velocity, each and everything, and their formulas. So I feel that this is what you have been doing, is the science of higher level, means higher education, as well as beyond that on the research level. But science makes the lives of the human being easier one to live if we understand it. In that way, this is the very duty of all scientists and the people of science, to make it available to common people. And why the research is done? Nowadays we ask very simple question when we go for RAC or RRC, that what will be the benefit of your research to the society? Why this question has been asked? This question has been asked only for the sake of that, when you are doing something, if you are doing research, it should be useful to the society, that is the common people. In that way, I feel that this move of the organizer, that organizing this research methodologies in physical science webinar, is a very good step. I wish all the best to the organizers. I appreciate their efforts and wish all the best to this webinar. Thank you very much. Once again, before closing my speech, I wish all the best to the organizers and the participants, and hope that you will make most out of it. And thank to chairman of this what we call webinar, Dr. Jaipurkar sir, for initiating this move. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Honorable Dr. Jagdish Sabu sir, for your valuable remarks and inaugural address for this webinar. Now, at this juncture of time, I would like to take this opportunity to welcome the invited speaker for today's webinar, Honorable Dr. A.U. Bajpai from Arts, Commerce and Science College, Kiran Nagar, Amravati. Now, he is the invited speaker for today's webinar on research methodologies in physical sciences. Now, I would like to invite Honorable Dr. A.U. Bajpai, sir, to deliver his lecture on research methodologies in physical sciences. Please, sir.
Thank you very much. Actually, I am not what we say different from this particular we say webinar and the association. First of all, I am very glad to get this particular chance to interact with all senior researchers in terms of giving some notes or tips for research methodology, research methodologies in physical sciences. It is one of the activities under MOUs between these three colleges headed by Honorable Dr. Jaipurkar sir, Honorable Dr. Chandan Pat sir, and Honorable Dr. Sabu sir. I also take this opportunity to welcome all these dignitaries, head of the institutions, as one of the MOU partners, with the assumed blessings of all the attendees in this webinar, with special efforts taken by my friend Dr. Kapse, Dr. Dokne, and Dr. Devde. Now, just with these few words, I am going to have interaction by using the title, you may say, Research Methodologies in Physical Sciences. Just I'm sharing it. 1 minute. ते शेअरिंगचा ऑप्शन करावा लागेल म्हणून इंग्लिश मध्ये बाष्पी लिहिलेलं आहे त्याला.
नो, यू आर को-होस्ट. मराठीमध्ये जे लिहिलेलं आहे त्याला पण आणि डॉक्टर बाष्पी इंग्रजीमध्ये लिहिलं आहे त्याला पण, सो यू कॅन शेअर इट.
अच्छा अच्छा, it is not actually 1 minute.
Click on the share screen.
Yes,
Yeah.
It is. Okay.
Please.
1 minute. आलाय वाटतं ना?
Yes.
Yes. Yes. 1 minute. Some, I think, network issue may be there. Yes. So I am interacting on the basis of this particular line, research methodologies in physical sciences. Actually, it is now we can't you may say go for differentiating the research methodologies in physical science and sciences and all these sciences. Still, this particular webinar is for, in particular, the researchers in physical sciences and in general sciences. Therefore, we have decided to have interaction with this particular topic. This particular topic I will cover in this particular topic: general steps in research, research formulation, and research methodologies, tips of research methodologies in physical sciences. The broader spectrum is like that, and some selected is selection of the research area, formulating research, conducting the literature review, selecting data collection methods, data analysis with some parameters, we will discuss that, research conclusions, and the most important is satisfaction of completing the research. Now, just see, even though to write the article in totally is a totally individual, you may say, part of the research of a particular researcher. But for the sake of uniformity in the presentation, the format of the presentation may be any, it depends upon the, what we say, institutions, situations, publication, tools, publication, agencies, and all these things. And to have line-up learning, some guidelines are given here. Research articles in physics may be a publication in dailies, newspapers, आपण ज्याला म्हणू शकतो. Research articles, research papers, research reviews, research dissertations, and research thesis or likewise. It is expected to include some chapters to judge about overall research process carried out as we are going to see now. Means whatever we are having our research, it should be in a particular format, and that format is important. Therefore, these steps are also important. Now, to continue these general steps in research, we have a selection of the research area. Firstly, research area means what? In our language, in language of our Amravati University, Sant Gadge Baba Amravati University, you may say technical language, whatever it may be the title of the research article or the thesis. I am generalizing the term as a research article. It will include all these things. You may say research target, you may say research headline, you may say tagline, you may say problem of genuine interest. And formulating research means to aim to write a particular aim, objectives, research questions, or developing hypotheses. These are some steps in formulation. It may be the result from several attempts and revisions. It helps in bringing out final version of what is targeted. Means to have to achieve particular target, we have to adopt some procedure, and this procedure is very, very important. Now, suppose we have a particular research problem in our mind, and many times it happens that this problem may come into the picture or may be of worth or may not be of worth. And for that particular purpose, we have to go through the literature review. This literature review is the longest step in the structure of writing research articles, we may say. It starts even before the formulation of the research aims and objectives. It should be authentic, certified, easily reproducible, and registered information from the collection tools. And it should be written properly with the detailed reproducible address of the source. Main part of the literature review is resulted after the formulation of the research. Actually, there are, in case of conducting the literature review, we can divide this process into two parts. One is that before the research, means only by considering rough title or rough target, and after having fixed the target. These two parts are very important in this case. Now, this will continue to selection of data collection methods. Means in theoretical physics, data is required to be collected from the authentic sources, and in experimental physics, registered methods or innovated by the researchers can also be included. Naturally, with valid reasons of doing so, it may include primary and secondary data. Just see, because whenever we are collecting data, means for theoretical aspects, the data is collected from the already available authentic sources. And as far as the experimental part is concerned, for the experimental part, we can just go through the different or various research articles available, or we can develop our research method or experimental method. Now, after that, the data analysis is important. This is with extensive editing and proper coding, you may say. Coding, if it is there is a coding, then decoding system is also there. And therefore, it varies between the quantitative and qualitative studies. More manageable sample group responses are placed properly to initiate future processing from what the researcher has stored. What is the meaning of that? Whatever we have gathered the information, we have to categorize the information in particular groups, and then it becomes easy to analyze the data. It is one of the great important issues while presenting our research articles. After having this data in the form of, you may say, the tables, maybe charts, maybe graphs, or instrumental techniques. It may be like same in physics, TEM, EDAX, X-ray, FTIR, and all these things. it is to be focused as per the titled sense. It is very important, because if we are focusing at each time our title, once the title is fixed, once the target is fixed, then it becomes easy to go for the data analysis also, even after you have a huge, you may say, the reviewed literature. Then, 1 minute. Now, this next step is research, reaching towards the conclusion. I just kept this S in the bracket, conclusions. Sometimes this particular conclusion word is again confusing, whether it is in plural or singular. But in my opinion, it should be used in a singular, fashion. It relates to level and degree of achievements as per the targeted research. Because you can go rigorously through the literature review, you can collect the data on the basis of your literature, you can collect the data on the basis of your experiments and the theories and all these things, but level or the degree of achievement as per the targeted research is also important. And therefore, in many cases, it happens that the researcher, under the observation or supervision of other person, sometimes goes for a very large, documentation and the experimentation and all these things, and characterization and all these things. But even though it is a very large, it is very important up to what extent it should be included in a particular research article or the, you may say, thesis or all these things. And it is to justify why the line of action of research justifies the target. This is again important. Justification is very important. To justify the target means what? Aims and objectives which we have written, it also covers the research limitations, including the future scope. Means in this particular, area, while we are writing research conclusion, then the degree of achievement is one important thing. Second is that it should justify the title, and third is that it must have some kind of future scope written in that particular conclusion. Now, the last most important on the basis of ethics in research is that satisfaction of completing the research. This is also one of the general steps which is not actually written anywhere till this particular node. What I told you is that all these are normally appeared in the thesis or the research articles or the dissertations normally. That is the aim, title, research, objectives, then methodologies, literature reviews, conclusion, all future scope, all these things. But this satisfaction of completing the research is inside you. And therefore, after having followed these all the as described major steps, what I already told you, the first draft may be prepared well before the submission of deadlines of these particular research articles if you are submitting somewhere. And it amounts to get proper feedback from either the co-workers or the seniors in that particular field, or the friends, or from the supervisor. Means what's happened? If you are having a target, for example, you are having a target of 30th July supposed to submit particular article in the form of research paper, you may say, or review or all these things. Therefore, you have to prepare your article well in advance, before 15 days of the deadline of the submission, so that you can spread it among your co-workers or the seniors in the field, and you can acquire the suggestions. And after having implementation of the suggestions of work suggestions, you may say, we can go further. Therefore, this particular process is important to, as far as you may say, the morals and ethics of research is concerned. Now, even though to write the article is total, 1 minute, it is individual part. Research article in physics may be the, defined in different kind of, you may say, methods. Some kind of, you may say, I can just tell you that some deviations can also be considered here. And on the basis of that, for the newer researchers now, those who are just joining the research, or those who are facing the RACs or RRCs, for these particular researchers, we have some kind of research formulation. And this formulation of research means to state the problem in a way that is researchable and presentable. That is the important. Means normally, what's happened, those who are related with the process of our university RRC, you may say previous process, there was some kind of, suppose after 2 or 3 or 5 months, if he started the research doing something, and he wants, suppose he wants to change his title, for example, some kind of words are to be changed in the title and all these things, then again a long procedure was there. And I am very happy to you may say know about this particular procedure, or I am also one of the elements of this particular procedure, newly adopted procedure of RAC, that is Research Advisory Committee at the college level. Here we are having a huge time period, 6 months time period, or a platform to state our problem differently before submitting the particular synopsis or particular, you may say, article to the university in front of RRC. Means this is very important procedure, and therefore here we can shape our particular topic or the article in a manner after having many investigations within these 6 months and all these things. Now, in this particular formulation, it is important to fix the theme of research investigation, that is the title. It is difficult to define research title or the problem to be undertaken under investigation. Initially, we know it is very difficult. Therefore, we got some chance here. We get some chance here. For this particular purpose, the direction along which the researcher wants to forward himself is very important. And this direction can also be defined, or the direction can be also narrowed by using the guidance from the peers, or you may say the supervisors and many, you may say, friends in that particular field. Then this research formulation, 1 minute, something is going on. It's okay. There may be 2 broader formulations, you may say, on the basis of the theme undertaken and the title to be defined. Basic and advanced, 2 broader lines, what do we say, formulations we can just use here. A few steps may be advised for the purpose of basic research formulation are: think along the line or the theme adopted or the targeted. Then collection of the relevant is important, because in previous, what we say, 10 minutes or 15 minutes, I told you that without having direct target also you can go for literature reviews and all these things, but some broad target is always there in mind. We can narrow that target, we can pinpointly write this target, and after that this collection of relevant word is important, relevant material is important. And the third step, which is normally not occurring in new researchers, normally I am not telling about the new researchers in our, what we say, webinar, rigorous reading and thinking over the issues raised and concluded by the other researchers in that particular relevant field. It is very important. Normally, what's happened, we are having, normally in our, what we say, vicinity, I found that Dr. Kapse and all my friends normally have the discussion on this particular topic, that they are going to write the references, huge references, 100, 200, 300. And once, suppose the supervisor or the project manager like me ask them, Beta, how many research articles in these references you have with you? So he or she keeps mum, because they are only putting the research articles there. This method should not be there. Therefore, I am suggesting that rigorous reading and thinking over the issues raised our issues raised, our targeted issues raised, and the conclusions on the same line by the others, already published articles, you may say. It is very important in that field to have proper, you may say, research articles. Then organizing it properly is also one of the important steps. Then in current era, instead of using pen paper system of like that, we are having a book and all these things. I think that because I always used to tell my research scholars that you just prepare one email, now dummy email you may say, or one email, so that each and everything should be kept that from your that mail only. And immediate smart work is also important, and it is expected nowadays. There is no requirement of pen and paper and all these things. Or if this is, then it must be less and less. After having gone through many research articles like papers, reviews, dissertation projects, research, you may say, articles, all these things, mindset of putting the relevant fields at a particular place is important. This mindset is also important, because which thing is to be, we are having many research articles, many research papers, starting from introduction and literature review, methods and materials and results and discussions and all these things. Then after having grasped it, it is our duty to put it properly at a particular place in our computer or through the email and all these things. For the purpose of putting the data at particular places, it is recommended to make a single folder. This system, I am adopting this system, and I am sharing my experience and my working style with you. Naturally, it is scientific. It has a scientific base. A single folder on the desktop, you can prepare single folder related to the theme of research. Suppose my theme of research is AUB. My name is there. Suppose I have AUB research. Some folder is there. In that, again, a folder, again another folder is required. This single folder may contain many other folders, you may say, in which the files with the specific addresses and contents be prepared to get ease of research. Means what? You can prepare the file by naming introduction, by naming literature review, by naming materials and methods, by naming conclusion, by naming whatever. So you can prepare these files also in Word and whatever so your format. Why? Because whenever you are going to write research articles in future, this is the method to be adopted by physicists, because we are now techno-savvy people, and if it is not, then we have to adopt this techno-savviness. And therefore, if we are having these particular files, then what is our duty? Our duty is to place the data in that particular single folder or the files and all these things. Means it may contain many other folders in which we can specifically put the information. Just like introduction of the problems, then review of literature. And whenever we are putting review of literature, for example, there is a word file named as review of literature, then you should have to write full address of the research article along with the start and end page numbers. Just see, whatever it may be, the longest, you may say, methodology to write a research particular reference means all the names of authors. It is not required in actual processing, but for our sake, it is important. Names of all the authors of that particular article, name of the article, that publishing date, then pages, first page and end page, and title of the articles, and all these things, institutions, if mobile numbers or the emails are there, and all these things. Means these should be there, and after that you can write some points related to with focused in the abstract or the conclusion and all these things. This method is very, very important. This method is useful for putting your research further in proper way without having too much load to this our head. Now, these materials and methods, these are to be used for the purpose of modifications. Suppose we have studied some methods from different research articles, you may say, then we can think over that it can be modified. Is it modified, or then some innovations can also be perform or do in that particular process, or you may change the approach also. New approaches may be there, and all these things as per the theme of our proposed title or the proposed research. And it is required to study and write various methods which are adaptable, which are applicable in our research laboratory especially, and particularly the research laboratories of ATIS research laboratories from IITs and all these things. It is very important because whenever we are having this particular file and folder system, then in that particular folder file system, you can write the methods. In case of physics, suppose Sol-Gel methods, or there are chemical vapor deposition method is there, or solid state method is there. You can write it, because if you are having a particular write-up of your methods, then you can think कि इसको change कहाँ से कर सकते हैं, और addition क्या कर सकते हैं, subtraction क्या कर सकते हैं. In our local system, how we can just perform our research, and the same results which is what we say obtained with the instruments which are not available, what we say, in your vicinity. If the same results are obtained in our circumstances, then again it has a different kind of what we say importance. It is also required to study various characterizations of the other researchers also, and to write particularly the list of characterizations which the researchers can do easily in given circumstances. Circumstances is also one of the important part in our area, because as far as the research is concerned, we are not developed, we are not developing, we are below that also, and therefore it is very important. Means our target is fixed, and which kind of characterizations we can have. You can write, you can just go for the different through different literatures, and you can write it on by using you may say this particular method. Here the role of supervisor is also important. Prominent role of supervisor is there. Suppose you have supervisor, and if not, then you can go for this particular what you say knowledge, to adopt this knowledge, to adopt these methodologies to other people also of your vicinity, or through also mediated what we say communication also. The details of the tools used for the same be written in the folder containing introduction to the topic. It is very important. Then result discussion and conclusion. This is also one of the parts in this particular research, what we say, writing a research structure or the thesis or the article. Result and conclusion made by other researchers in the field, and special comments for the future scope is important. And again, it is in relation to theme. It is important. Neither research is different and future में तो हम कुछ भी कर सकते हैं, तो that is not expected actually. Collection of pinpoint and underline conclusions is more conclusion is more important. In this note of special focus points, issues may be taken so that next researcher may go for the well-defined and refined statement from your research, what we say, findings. Just see, you have a research findings in the form of conclusion, and if you are going, because in a particular research article or paper or dissertation or a review is different thing, but in thesis we have limitations. Limitations may be different what we say kind of degree, but there are limitations. And therefore, if you are having, if you are what we say, after having going through that particular process, you will think that, you can think that, नहीं यार, ये research ऐसा करते तो और भी अच्छा होता, तो you can put it in the what we say future scope, and you can suggest it directly to many researchers. Then folder with, just I am telling about the folders. Folder with special focus to gaps is also important. Just see, whenever we are going to write, read the research articles thoroughly, after having 2, 3, 4, 5, the single paper you may say, readings, you will find that in this research methodology, if suppose this material, because in my research I use nitric acid, and after having, after submission of the thesis, award of the thesis, and many 5 years or 6 years going after that, I found that there was no need of nitric acid. But since I was researcher primary, really I worked for that, therefore I put all these things there. But now I am telling to my research fellow that this should not be there. There is no miss. You can, how you can develop yourself, that is important, and therefore these gaps are very important for that particular purposes, to write the gaps where you can work properly. You can prepare one of the files in that particular folder. You may take similar or different kind of what we say line of research. Note of research problems under thought to be taken along fixed fixing up a few references is also important. Means what? You can just go for a particular, you have 100 or 200 references after having literature reviews, no doubt, but 10 to 15 research articles you must keep in another folder, so that the repetitions of reading and all these things should be carried out by using this. And after having that, pre-final statements means what? Before to finalize the actual title of the research article, 2 or 3 final statements may be made, but this facility is not available at our institute, our university area, but this facility is available before to submit, before 6 months, before submission of 6 months of the research, you may say PhD thesis. In IITs, there is a facility to change the titles and all these things. This facility, even this facility is not available at our university. We can use this facility in the coursework, so-called coursework of Now, finalizing the title for the research article is also important and skill-based work. Normally, what's happened whenever Honorable Jaipurkar sir is there, she was many times attended that as a chairman, the RRC and all these things. Some suggestions are there in title. Why? Because whenever we are putting our titles, we are presenting our titles there, the titles may have the vague, you may say, statements and like that. Therefore, these experts are just suggesting us to change this title in this fashion and all these things. And if the experts are telling you that change the title, then if your work is proper, you have done your work, your line of action is clear, you can argue with them. That facility is there, and you can tell them, sir, no, this title must be like that because this is the background of this and all these things. And this is my experience. Therefore, you just think along that particular line. And next is that after having this preparation of all these folders, you can prepare pick point data folder for the purpose of writing actual write-up, whatever it may be. And therefore, the introduction, literature reviews, materials and methods, formulation, procedure, results and discussion, conclusion, future scope, acknowledgements in some cases, because we are having the research, characterizations in free of charge or in concessional rates from many other agencies, government or non-government agencies. So you can have that particular acknowledgement line also there. It is optional, no doubt. And this is again important thing. Now, in case of physical sciences, if we see, the physics is the most fundamental and all-inclusive of the sciences, we know. And it has a good and primary effect on the scientific development of the current era and the current world. Therefore, the physics is at present equivalent of what used to be called natural philosophy, you may say. A natural philosophy of physics. Whenever we are studying many sciences, we are interacting with many sciences. But without having thinking of, by using the line of physics, it is very difficult to achieve the target, you may say. It is very difficult. And normally, in discovery channels and all these things and research interactions, we know that this is happening like that. Now, therefore, in my opinion, even though I am just discussing all the things with research methodology in physical sciences, in my opinion, or in opinion of many people, we cannot apply a single strategy for particular research. We have to use many strategies from many subjects also. And this is a different thing. It is, again, physics is experimental science. Whatever you have in theory also you have to make the experiments. The experiment is not like that. You are putting one liquid in another and one powder in another, not like that, and heating and like that. Experiment means this. In your mind, there are experiments. Means thinking and conclusions, logic, applying logic and all these things and references. This is what also experimental, work. And normally, what we are doing is that we are using chemicals, material chemistry or material physics there. You may say material science there, and we can reveal unexpected behavior or outcome from that. Means what's happened whenever we are putting like that, because in my research again I am telling you that I was using that my targeted problem. I am just trying for targeted problem with different method. But Dr. Kapse and myself, when we discussed that some injection method can be used here in this particular process, then I got a very interesting result. Means what? Unexpected behavior. So this is also important. Then ways in which experimental and theoretical physicists countered the problems is also important. Just I told you, ways means what? It depends upon that. You have to think properly, and you can use the different ways, authentic ways you may say, or what we say acceptable ways by the researchers. Then in case of theoretical physics, theoretical physicists uses they use mathematics both as logical tools and to develop the theory, because without having logic you cannot proceed, and logic is not important after having entered in the mathematics. But to start the mathematical process, whatever it may be, you have to follow the logic. This is also important. And after that, having logic and mathematics, you can just proceed for the predictions, and you can have the comparison of experimental data and all of these things. And I, since I am too much related with this academics and all these things, basic physics, in case of gravitation, I know that assuming that the attractive forces between the any pair of you may say bodies, points or particles is that attractive forces are inversely proportional to square of distance and directly proportional to product of masses and all these things. Then this is the statement from the Newton's law of gravitation, no doubt. But this statement has no any kind of mathematics actually. It was a logical statement, but after having many rigorous thinking, I don't know what is actually what process was adopted. But what I read from the recent articles is that this was the empirical consideration. Empirical consideration means what? Asa kelana asa hote आणि होतच असते. That is empirical consideration, and this empirical considerations are kept into the formula, and that becomes a formula in that particular gravitational physics. In modern physics also, Dirac, नाव ऐकलेलं आहे तुम्ही फर्मी डिरॅक मध्ये, Dirac predicted the existence of the then unknown positive electron. आता पॉझिटिव्ह इलेक्ट्रॉन हा शब्द आपल्याला ऐकायला बरा वाटत नाही, पण त्याची थेअरी वेगळी आहे, ते आपण पाहू. पॉझिट्रॉन म्हणतो आपण त्याला. बाय अँड दिस पॉझिट्रॉन ही प्रेडिक्टेड दिस पॉझिट्रॉन बाय फाइंडिंग एन इक्वेशन फॉर द इलेक्ट्रॉन दॅट वुड कंबाईन क्वांटम मेकॅनिक्स अँड स्पेशल थेअरी ऑफ रिलेटिव्हिटी. म्हणजे त्यांनी तशा पद्धतीचा पॉझिट्रॉन च्या डायरेक्शन स्टडी केल्यामुळं व्हॉट्स हॅपन, मेकॅनिक्स आणि स्पेशल थेअरी ऑफ रिलेटिव्हिटी दोन्ही तिथे क्लब करता आला, रिलेट करता आला. म्हणजे we can say that physicists or the physics researchers concentrate upon forces having an impact on the matter in this case. म्हणजे हे दोन्ही एक्झाम्पल्स तसे रिलेटेड होते. मग त्यामध्ये ग्रॅव्हिटेशन, हीट, लाईट, मॅग्नेटिझम, इलेक्ट्रिसिटी अँड ऑल दिस थिंग्स अशा असतात. कारण physics utilizes elements of other branches of sciences also here, like biology or chemistry, for to study the interaction and interpret its facts. Normally, because जसं साबू सरांनी पहिलेच सांगितलं की what is the use of this research for the human endeavor. So for that purpose, if human endeavor is considered, then automatically we have to use all the parameters which are related with human. Means it may be the device mechanism, it may be structural mechanism, it may be the different kind of sciences, even philosophy from the their language, that is English, also literature and all these things. Therefore, it has the reputation of being more complicated than other sciences. आपला तसाही प्रॉब्लेम आहे. आपल्याला लोक म्हणतात की तुमचं फिजिक्स खूप कॉम्प्लिकेटेड आहे बा. वाय? बिकॉज वी आर थिंकिंग फ्रॉम टू मेनी सोर्सेस अँड ऑल दिस थिंग लाईक दॅट. अँड हे खरं सुद्धा आहे की इट इज ऑफन ट्रू दॅट विदाउट फिजिक्स यू कुड नॉट हॅव बायोलॉजी, केमिस्ट्री और एनिथिंग एल्स in respect of this thinking and the studies like that. And therefore, this physics influences the other disciplines also. Since it is a fundamental science, the dependency of other subjects for to develop human society or human endeavor along with the sciences It is important. It also affects other fields of sciences. It also affects the philosophy and the nearby, you may say, devices and technologies and all these things. Now the physics has reached to a great degree of maturity with general principles, then moved from basics to applied physics, then applied physics to applied mechanics, and applied mechanics and all these things to the technology, and after the technology, the devices. Means this is the, what we say, line of action of work, that is the principles, you may say basic principles, applied physics, technology, and the device preparation, working device preparation, and all these things. Now with this, what we say, some kind of tools to have interacted what I have written naturally, written in immediate format. I am very much thankful to you, listeners, you may say, because I am not thankful to us because we are MOU partners. Therefore, it is our duty to interact with you properly by means of this, what we say, interactions, different kind of research interaction. Thank you very much. Thank you. Sir.
Thank
Hello.
you. Hello.
Kapse, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Bajpai sir, for a very nice presentation. Now, before commenting anything on your lecture, I would like to request participants to have an interaction with today's resource person, Dr. A.U. Bajpai sir, for your doubts, or you may say the queries or any type of questions. I request all the participants to have an interaction with today's resource person. Dear participants.
Hello.
Yes,
Hello.
yes.
Yes, Galande sir.
Myself Galande. Good afternoon to present all dignitaries. I have two difficulties. First, while doing some research, the result of the sample is corrected in a principle, but the sample result of the practically is not as expected. So, is this kind of research called a negative research? And is there
your sir question is what I realize is that from your question, did you mean that this is there any concept of negative research like that? Is it?
Yes,
Hello.
Sir. Hello.
Just
sir,
see.
Hello. सर मला असं म्हणायचं आहे की एका सॅम्पल मध्ये जर समजा आपल्याला प्रिन्सिपली म्हणजे थेरॉटिकली आपल्याला केमिकल रूट नुसार थेरॉटिकली रिझल्ट बरोबर आहेत केमिकली, पण प्रॅक्टिकली आपल्याला रिझल्ट जे आहेत ते वेगळे मिळत आहेत, अपेक्षेप्रमाणे मिळत नाहीत, तर त्याला आपण निगेटिव्ह रिसर्च म्हणू शकतो का? आणि अशा रिसर्चला आपण पब्लिकेशन साठी काही जागा आहे का?
नाही तसं नाही आहे सर. काय आहे त्याच्यामध्ये महत्वाच्या काही पॉइंट्स असे असतात निगेटिव्ह रिसर्च मध्ये की निगेटिव्ह रिसर्च म्हटल्यापेक्षा रिसर्च निगेटिव्ह नसतो, फाइंडिंग्स निगेटिव्ह राहू शकतात. हा एक पहिला मुद्दा आहे की ज्यामध्ये कसं आहे की तुम्ही जशी एखादी प्रोसिजर अडॉप्ट केलेली आहे, यू हॅव अडॉप्टेड द प्रोसिजर, आणि ती प्रोसिजर रजिस्टर्ड प्रोसिजर आहे, ऑलरेडी फॉर्मॅटेड प्रोसिजर आहे, तुम्ही अडॉप्ट केली. And after having this procedure, gone through this procedure, तुम्हाला जर असं रिझल्ट्स मध्ये म्हणजे तुम्ही म्हणत आहे की प्रॅक्टिकली आपल्याला असे रिझल्ट मिळालेले आहे, नॅनो पार्टिकल्स मिळालेले आहे, असं काही म्हणजे कोणती एखादी गोष्ट जर घेतली तर काय होईल की फाइंडिंग्स तुमचे निगेटिव्ह राहू शकतात. की कापसे सरांनी याच मेथडनं यांच्या पेपरमध्ये, म्हणजे मी त्यांच्या नाव याच्यासाठी घेत आहे की फॉर एक्झाम्पल एक फॉर्म हे म्हणून टूल म्हणून की त्यांचं रिसर्च आर्टिकल तुम्ही वाचला आणि त्यांनी एखादी प्रोसिजर लिहिलेली आहे आणि त्या प्रोसिजरनं तुम्ही हे केल्यानंतर तुम्ही असं म्हणाल की त्यांनी जे केलेलं आहे या प्रोसिजरनं ते ह्या प्रोसिजरनं मला तसं नाही मिळालं, असं मिळालेलं आहे, वेगळं मिळालेलं आहे असं म्हणू आपण. तर त्याला निगेटिव्ह रिसर्च नाही म्हणता येणार. निगेटिव्ह रिसर्च आपण त्याला शब्द वापरू शकत नाही. तो रिसर्चच झालेला आहे. फक्त काय आहे की तुम्ही जी प्रोसिजर अडॉप्ट केलेली आहे ते, म्हणून मी तुम्हाला म्हणजे मागे तुम्ही असाल तेव्हा सांगितलंय की अवेलेबल सर्कमस्टान्सेस आर व्हेरी इम्पॉर्टंट. जस्ट सी, तुम्ही जर इथे एखादी प्रोसिजर करत आहे आणि IITs मध्ये जाऊन करत आहे, म्हणजे कापसे सरांनी मी बरंच तिथं राहिलेलो आहे म्हणून आम्हाला माहिती आहे, तर ती प्रोसिजर तिथे केली आणि इथे केली मध्ये त्याच्यामध्ये रिझल्ट मध्ये फरक पडतो. का पडतो? कारण व्हॉट वी आर युझिंग इज अप्रॉक्सिमेटली रॉ. वी आर नॉट हॅव्हिंग व्हॉट इज अ सेफ इन्स्ट्रुमेंटेशन आपण तिथे पाहतो. सोफिस्टिकेटेड इन्स्ट्रुमेंटेशन किंवा इन्स्ट्रुमेंट्स किंवा प्रोसिजर्स आपल्याजवळ नाही. आपण आपल्या पद्धती ऐकलेल्या, पाहिलेल्या, वाचलेल्या प्रोसिजर्स आपण काय करतो, आपल्या पद्धतीनं अडॉप्ट करतो. म्हणून त्याच्यामध्ये थोडं डेव्हिएशन राहू शकते. याचा अर्थ रिसर्चरने डिमॉरलाइज होऊ नये, म्हणजे त्याची लाईन ऑफ ऍक्शन फक्त तुम्हाला ते पद्धतशीर इंटरप्रिट करावं लागते. आणि स्पेशली तुम्ही जर समजा कोवर्कर्स जे असतात किंवा सुपरवायझर जे आहे किंवा त्यांच्या व्यतिरिक्त किंवा एखादा व्यक्ती तुम्हाला माहिती आहे की तो आपल्याला मदत करू शकतो, तर त्याच्या जवळ जाऊन ते क्लिअर करायला पाहिजे. यामध्ये आपला पॉइंट सायंटिफिक दृष्टीने क्लिअर करणे हे महत्वाचं आहे. तो कोणी केला हे महत्वाचं नाही. त्याच्यामुळं यू कॅन तुम्ही असं बोलू नाही शकत की दिस इज निगेटिव्ह रिसर्च.
ओके. मग सर आपण निगेटिव्ह रिसर्च कशाला म्हणता येईल, मग कोणते पॉइंट?
नाही, निगेटिव्ह रिसर्च नाही म्हणता येईल सर. अगेन आय एम फोकसिंग ऑन निगेटिव्ह रिसर्च. हा निगेटिव्ह नसतोच, त्याचे फाइंडिंग्स निगेटिव्ह असतात. जसं ते कोणता आता पिक्चर पाहिलेला असेल ना तुम्ही, चिठ्ठी काय असते, चिठ्ठीचा कोणता पिक्चर आहे, कोणता तरी पिक्चर, तर त्यामध्ये त्यांनी ते रोबोट बनवलेला, रोबोटवाला पिक्चर आहे कोणता तरी, मला नाव नाही माहिती. तर रोबोट बनवलेला आहे, तर पॉझिटिव्ह गोष्टीसाठी रोबोट बनवलेला आहे, तो रिसर्चच आहे. पण तो रिसर्च निगेटिव्ह केव्हा दिसायला लागतो, जेव्हा तो विध्वंसक कामं चालू करतो. आलं का लक्षात? म्हणजे सांगायचं मिनिंग असं आहे की तुमचा रिसर्च हा निगेटिव्ह नाही राहू शकत, रिसर्च हा पॉझिटिव्ह. रिसर्च कोणताही राहू शकेल. म्हणजे तुम्ही एखाद्याला तलवारीनं जर एखाद्याच्या मुंड्या कापायच्या असेल तर हाही रिसर्चच राहू शकतो, त्याच्यातले टेक्निक. पण त्याचा यूज जेव्हा आपण सांगतो ह्युमन इंडियावर, सरांनी जसं म्हटलं की सामाजिक जीवनामध्ये, सामाजिक लोकांसाठी, जनमानसासाठी त्याचा उपयोग कशा पद्धतीने होतो, त्याच्यावर मग आपण असं बोलत असतो. त्याच्यामुळे आपण असं म्हणणं म्हणजे मला नाही वाटत बा योग्य आहे. म्हणजे मी एवढा तज्ञ नाही आहे त्यातला, पण असं नाही आहे. पण तुमच्या पॉइंटवर मी विचार करून त्याच्यावर जरूर तशा पद्धतीचा सांगेल काहीतरी. चांगला प्रश्न.
थँक्यू सर. थँक्यू.
With your kind permission, Dr. Bajpayee, may I add one line?
सवाल नाही.
याच्यामध्ये मला असं वाटतं की जसं आपण म्हणतो की एखादी प्रोसिजर एखाद्या पेपरमध्ये दिलेली जेव्हा आपण फॉलो करतो, तेव्हा त्या पेपरमध्ये म्हटलेला जेव्हा रिझल्ट आपल्याला मिळत नाही असं जेव्हा आपण म्हणतो, तेव्हा ऍक्च्युअली जेव्हा ज्या काही प्रिपरेशन मेथड्स ज्या दिलेल्या असतात त्याच्यामध्ये पेपरमध्ये काही हिडन लाईन्स असतात. हिडन लाईन्स म्हणजे काय की ती गोष्ट त्या ऑथरनी त्या पेपरमध्ये लिहिलेली नसते, जी आपल्याला माहित नसते की ही गोष्ट इथे ऍड करायची आहे. एक्झॅक्टली ती गोष्ट झालेली असते. त्याच्यामुळे आपण त्या गोष्ट हिडन लाईन्स असतात. हिडन लाईन्स म्हणजे की त्यांनी ती गोष्ट मेन्शन केलेली नाही आहे तिथे, आणि ती गोष्ट मेन्शन केलेली नसल्यामुळे पेपरमध्ये जसं दिलेलं आहे त्या पद्धतीने जेव्हा आपण प्रोसीड होतो तेव्हा कुठेतरी आपल्याला तो रिझल्ट मिळत नाही. असं केव्हा केव्हा होत आहे, असं खूपदा जो अनुभव आलेला आहे तो जस्ट शेअर केला मी.
येस ऑफकोर्स, बऱ्याच वेळेस झालेला आहे, आपल्या सोबत झालेला आहे.
येस. मला असं वाटतं की परत कोणी पार्टिसिपंट असेल तर आय वुड लाईक टू रिक्वेस्ट द पार्टिसिपंट्स टू हॅव एनी क्वेश्चन्स. कोणाला विचारायचं आहे?
हॅलो.
हा, फरहान अहमद सर.
बाबू सर
बोला सर.
हे आता याच्या अगोदर एका रिसर्चरने विचारलं व्हॉट इज मीन बाय निगेटिव्ह रिसर्च. निगेटिव्ह रिसर्च ची साधी डेफिनेशन आहे, द रिसर्च विच हॅज बीन डन विथ द इल इंटेन्शन इज द निगेटिव्ह रिसर्च. म्हणजे ही त्याची साधी डेफिनेशन आहे. थोडक्यात म्हणजे आता लोक अँटीव्हायरस बनवतात, तर अँटीव्हायरस याचं बनवायचं काम याच्यासाठी पडते कारण लोकांनी पहिले व्हायरस बनवलेले असतात आणि ते कशासाठी, लोकांना डिस्टर्ब करायसाठी, आणि म्हणून अँटीव्हायरस बनावं लागतं. तर हे व्हायरस बनवणं सुद्धा एक रिसर्च आहे. विदाउट रिसर्च ही कॅनॉट मेक द व्हायरस टू डिस्टर्ब यू, बट इट इज विथ इल इंटेन्शन अँड दॅट्स वाय इट इज निगेटिव्ह रिसर्च. किंवा साधं उदाहरण घेतलं आपलं तर नाईफ आहे. नाईफ डॉक्टर ऑपरेशन साठी वापरतो आणि ऑपरेशन करून कोणाचं अपेंडिक्स काढून कोणाचं काय करून त्याचं जीव वाचवतो. आणि एक असॅसिनेटर किंवा मर्डरर किंवा असा त्याच नाईफनं कोणाचं खून करतो आणि त्याचा जीव घेतो. तर थोडक्यात रिसर्च ऍक्टिव्हिटी डन विथ इल इंटेन्शन इज द निगेटिव्ह रिसर्च.
थँक्यू सर. कोणाला आणखी काही विचारायचं आहे?
हॅलो, गुड इव्हनिंग सर.
हा, फरहान अहमद सर विचारा.
हॅलो, गुड इव्हनिंग
Yes,
सर.
yes,
माय
yes.
नेम इज फरहान अहमद. So my question is, sir, related to the X-ray characterization technique. सर मुझे ये पूछना था कि अगर किसी मटेरियल के JCPDS डेटा के अकॉर्डिंग 6 स्टैंडर्ड पिक्स है और वही अगर हमने मटेरियल तैयार किए लेकिन हमें तीन ही पिक्स मिलते हैं, तो क्या हम कह सकते हैं कि वो मटेरियल सेम मटेरियल बना है?
हेलो सर, मटेरियल बना है ये जो प्रकार है ना, आप JCPDS डेटा से कंपेयर कर रहे हो तो करना ही पड़ता, हमको फिजिसिस्ट को तो करना ही पड़ता, सवाल ही नहीं। लेकिन क्या होता है कि इसके लिए एक उसमें जैसे आपने मेरा थीसिस रेफर किया तो उसमें मैंने दिया है, इसमें फेज कन्वर्जन रेशियो एक प्रकार है। जैसे जो इसकी जो क्या बोलेंगे हम, आपने जो बोला है कि 3 पीक उसके आए तो क्या करने का, तो इसमें JCPDS डेटा के अकॉर्डिंग आपको जो मेजर पिक्स है वो यदि पिक्स आपके पास है तो उसका एक पेपर है, शायद मेरे पास यदि अभी मिलने की शक्यता कम है क्योंकि बहुत सारे, यदि मिला तो मैं कापसे सर को भेजूंगा, सर आपको भेजेंगे, तो वो उसमें आपको समझ में आएगा कि यदि ऐसे कंडीशन होती है तो JCPDS कार्ड फाइल से वो पिक मैचिंग वगैरह वो तो होने ही वाला है, उसका सवाल नहीं है। परंतु आपको जो टारगेटेड मटेरियल जो चाहिए वो उतना कन्वर्ट हुआ कि नहीं हुआ, तो XRD में से भी, यानी बाकी भी टूल्स है उसके, लेकिन XRD में से भी एक जगह पे वो ऐसा मिलता है, तो आप वैसा उस पर इंटरप्रेट करना पड़ता है आपको। क्योंकि आप सीधा सीधा यदि बोल दोगे और यदि उसमें कापसे सर जैसा वेल नोन रिसर्चर के पास यदि आपका थीसिस या आर्टिकल चला गया तो वो पहले बोलेंगे कि भाई ये बाकी के 10 पिक का क्या किया तुमने, सिंपल विषय है। तो फिर उसके लिए आपको उनके दिमाग में प्रश्न का आंसर वहीं पे देने के लिए आपको फेस कन्वर्जन रेशियो वहां पे बताना पड़ता है, और फेस कन्वर्जन रेशियो बताया तो फिर वो प्रॉपरली हो सकता है, यानी आपका 3 पिक पे भी काम हो सकता है, बोलने का मतलब।
थैंक यू सर।
कोणाला विचारायचं आहे आणखी प्रश्न? कारण इंटरॅक्शन महत्वाची आहे आपण, कारण हा कार्यक्रम विद्यार्थ्यांसाठी घेतलेला आहे, त्यामुळे रिसर्च स्टुडंटचं जे काही इंटरॅक्शन शक्य आहे, जेवढं जास्त शक्य आहे तेवढं व्हायला पाहिजे, म्हणून मी परत विनंती करतो रिसर्च स्टुडंट्सला की जर काही क्वेरीज असतील तर निश्चितच शेअर करा. Well, now since there are no questions, I think let us move on. Thank you again, Dr. A.U. Bajpayee sir, for very nice and enlightening presentation. And I'm sure that research students from our collaborating institute will definitely get benefited from your lecture. Now, I would like to invite the chairman for today's webinar, Honorable Principal Dr. R.S. Jaipurkar sir, for his presidential address. Please, sir.
Thank you, Dr. V.D. Kapsis sir. Dignitaries present for this one-day webinar on research methodologies in physical sciences. My friend, principal of the Shankarlal Khandelwal Arts, Science and Commerce College, Akola, Dr. Jagdish Sabuji. Then Principal Dr. Rajesh Chandan Pat sir, Principal of Arts, Commerce and Science College, Kiran Amravati, all the faculties of physics, Dr. A.U. Bajpayee ji, who is the invited expert, then Dr. Sanjay Dewari ji, Dr. Haridas Kharaj ji, Dr. V.D. Kapsis ji, and Dr. G.R. Dokne ji, Dr. Tambekar madam, all the researchers from the 3 research centers, particularly from Arts Science Commerce College Chikaldara, Arts Commerce Science College Kiran Nagar, and Shankarlal Khandelwal Arts Science and Commerce College Akola. Indeed, it is a very happy moment to be here for this webinar. This is a very much needed move from Department of Physics from all these 3 colleges. Friends, we know that Physics is a very important subject. The earlier speakers told the importance of physics. It is the fundamental subject in science. And when we go for research, it is also has been described in detail that research can move to positive as well as negative, both the sides. And generally, we have already number of studies on the science, whether science is a curse or science is a blessing. We know, पहिलेपासून आपल्याला शाळेपासून विज्ञान हे चांगलं वाईट असं सगळं सांगितलं जाते. So it is the issue which is decided, which is described, which has been deliberated in this webinar also. We have to choose the proper title, proper problem for research, and that should be society oriented. The title should be in such a way that will benefit the society in large. So it is now very clear that our research topic must be people oriented, and right from the Government of India, then University Grants Commission, then state government and universities, they also are having much more emphasis on the selection of particular research topic. Friends, another thing, research is very, very important. We all know this is because a very small group of students, researchers, we are rightly from the 2 or 3 years, we were in the pandemic situation. We used webinars and then all these tools for the particular programs and all the public programs. So we know that research is the backbone of development of any country. And you see the countries like America, England, Germany, Japan. So the research numbers, the number of patents, it is much more than India. So the issue is we are not so much familiar with the research. We are having some misconception regarding research. And we are making it very complex also. So this is the one kind of very serious issue in the progress of the mankind and the progress of overall Indian nation. So therefore, friends, I will say that such kind of moves, webinar, programs, and then workshops in terms of research methodologies and in terms of research other modalities are very, very important and very much needed. And research methodology is a core part for any kind of research. It may be in science or technology or in humanities or commerce and management. So the methodologies varies as the subject and as the title and as the intention. The methodologies varies. There was also discussion, Dr. Vajpayee rightly said, there is a difference in instrumentation also, large difference. If we go to IITs or national institutes or institutes of repute, so there we can have a very, very sophisticated instruments, well-trained staff, and the overall very eco research environment. So that is the very great and important issue at these kind of national institutes. So friends, while going for research, we have to choose the appropriate methodology and appropriate laboratories and places also. If you go for appropriate place appropriate laboratory, you will have a large difference and you can go for proper readings, proper conclusion. So this is what I think. And therefore, in particular, research center finding is very important. जेव्हा आपण रिसर्च सेंटर निवडतो आहे त्या ठिकाणी ती फॅसिलिटी आहे की नाही, त्या ठिकाणी त्या पद्धतीची मॅनपॉवर आहे की नाही, दिस इज ऑल्सो व्हेरी इम्पॉर्टंट. सो नाउ ॲज पर द युनिव्हर्सिटी ग्रांट्स कमिशन रेग्युलेशन to go for research center and then go for registration is now compulsory. So now Sant Gadge Baba Amravati University has also gone through that particular way, and we have recognized large number of research centers. So friends, I will urge all the research scholars to go for proper research methodologies under your esteemed supervisors, and then you can have a proper conclusion and proper result which will be benefited for the society. Friends, this is the one kind of very important move under the joint venture under the MOU of all these three colleges. I will congratulate Dr. V.D. Kapse sir for his initiation for this very nice move. Also, I must congratulate Dr. R.S. Chandanpat sir, Dr. Jagdish Sabu sir for having such kind of MOU with our Chikaldara College and giving us this opportunity to have such collaborative program. I congratulate all the organizers and I welcome all the participants for this webinar. Thank you. Namaskar.
Thank you very much, sir, for your overall remarks over this webinar and your presidential address. Now, with the permission of chair, I have one, you can say, the notice for all the participants. Feedback link is shared in the chat box. Now I request all the participants to fill and submit the feedback form. Now I request Dr. Sanjay Devde sir for the vote of thanks.
Okay, thank you, sir. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Am I audible, sir?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Good afternoon to everyone. Respected chairman of the webinar, Dr. R.S. Jaipurkar, sir, ex-pro history of Sant Gadge Baba Amravati University, Amravati. Honorable inaugurator of webinar, Principal Dr. J.M. Sabu, sir, Shankarlal Khandelwal College, Akola. Chief guest of the webinar, Principal Dr. Chandan Pate, sir, Kiran Nagar College, Arts, Commerce, Science, Kiran Nagar College, Amravati. Resource person, Dr. A.E. Bajpayee, sir. Organizer, Dr. V.D. Kapse, sir. Technical experts and all dear faculty members and participants of this webinar. Research methodologies in physical sciences. Who watching as us online. This is Dr. Sanjay Devde, Department of Physics, Shankarlal Khandelwal College, Akola. It is my privilege to have been asked to propose vote of thanks on this occasion. I, on behalf of organizing committee, extended vote of thanks to the Honorable Chairman, to the webinar Principal of Sipna Education Societies, Arts Science College, Chikaldara, Dr. R.S. Jaipurkar, sir. I also extended vote of thanks to inaugurator, Dr. J.M. Sabu, sir, Principal, Shankarlal Khandelwal College, Akola, for their valuable guidance. I also extended vote of thanks to Chief Guest, Dr. Chandan Pate, sir, Principal, Arts, Commerce, Science College, Kiran Nagar, Amravati, for their speech on this occasion. Thank you for sparing your valuable time for us. It is my pleasant duty to record our deepest appreciation to Dr. A.U. Bajpayee, sir, who guided us about 1 hour and solved different queries of the students, which will definitely helpful to improve our ideas behind the research methodology in physical sciences. All PhD scholars and teachers of the physics. No program can be successful with a single person. So I extend my big hands to Dr. V.D. Kapse sir, all staff members, organizers, all staff members of 3 colleges and technical experts. Definitely, after attending this webinar, we will be successful. We will be proceed for the research in our physical sciences, and it is benefited to all research scholars. Thank you very much. Over to Kapse sir.
Thank you, Dr. Sanjay Devde, sir. Now, with the permission of chair, I declare that this webinar is over. Thank you to one and all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
नमस्कार सगळ्यांना.
नमस्कार सर्वांना.
दत्ताजी वरती पण दिसतात आहे.
आहे
आणि
ना.
मिलिंद शिरबाते सरी आहेत. दोघांचे स्वागत सर्वात शेवटी. चला भेटू मग. थँक्यू जी.
हो सर, बाय. थँक्यू.
चलो विवेक, बाय.
बाय. सर्वांना रिक्वेस्ट आहे की आपण हे जी झूम लिंक, आपला झूम सेशन आहे ते आपण 7 ते 8 मिनिटं आणखी चालू ठेवू. फक्त फीडबॅक लिंक जी दिलेली आहे तेवढा फीडबॅक फॉर्म सर्वांनी भरून द्यावा प्लीज. चॅट बॉक्स मध्ये फीडबॅक लिंक दिलेली आहे. आपण 7-8 मिनिटं आणखी ही झूम सेशन चालू ठेवू आणि तो फीडबॅक फॉर्म भरून घ्या. तसा मी व्हॉट्सअपला पण शेअर करेल जर कोणाचं राहून जाईल तर.
सर थँक्यू, माझं नाव घेतलं. म्यूट होतो मी. थँक्यू.
हो नाही माझ्या लक्षात.
थँक्यू सर.
ओके जी, नमस्कार.
हो थँक्यू सर.